Senate Republicans just voted again to keep the country shut down, the government shut down, and did Donald Trump's bidding in the process.
Chuck Schumer and the Democrats need to do the right thing and stop inflicting pain on the American people.
As we come on the air, the federal government remains shut down with another vote on a continuing resolution failing to pass today.
Both Republican and Democratic leaders are at a stalemate. Senate leaders say they may try another vote later this evening.
The Congressional Budget Office estimates 750,000 federal workers could be furloughed each day. Essential employees, including federal law enforcement, military service members, and TSA agents, are required to continue working without pay for now.
If this thing drags on for another few days or, God forbid, another few weeks, we are going to have to lay people off. We're going to have to save money in some places so the essential services don't get turned off in other places.
What gives us the ability to win this argument with the American people is we're standing for what they want with health care, and they are not.
On the impact of the shutdown here in our state, Janae Reese looks at the cuts to social service programs.
But we begin with Dennis Valera at City Hall with how this is going to affect the tens of thousands of federal workers in Maryland. Dennis.
Yeah, Nikki and Denise, the help that these federal workers will be getting can all be summed up as emergency financial assistance, making sure that these workers can keep the roofs over their head as well as the bills that they have to pay paid. Now, earlier, Mayor Brandon Scott, he says the people not only in this city but the rest of Maryland are really bearing the brunt of this shutdown.
This shutdown was avoidable. This shutdown was unnecessary.
Governor Westmore and other state and congressional leaders didn't mince words. They're blaming President Trump and Republicans for the shutdown, and they're going to step up for federal workers.
We will do everything in our power, but I also want to be clear that there is not a single state in this country that is prepared to fill this enormous gap that is being created by this federal administration.
The governor says he sent letters to ensure federal workers had protections and flexibility with things like utility and foreclosure payments. This is part of a law the legislature passed in 2019 in response to the last shutdown.
These laws do more than move money. They protect dignity, stability, and the promise that public servants should not be punished by forces beyond one's control.
The state will also be expanding other emergency assistance programs, encouraging federal workers to apply for unemployment, also working with credit unions and banks to help out and be flexible with payments. That's something the Maryland congressional delegation said they're doing as well on a national scale.
They have sacked food and drug safety inspectors at the Department of Agriculture and at the Food and Drug Administration. They have sacked people fighting for consumers at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. All of it now culminating in this effort to shut down the government of the United States.
Governor Moore administration officials say in past shutdowns, the state was reimbursed for federal programs it paid for. They're worried it won't be the case this time, and it could be very costly.
The governor also says the state will be using its own funds to pay for government programs like SNAP so that they can keep going. I'm going to hand things over now to Janae Reese. She's been looking more into that issue for us today. Janae.
Dennis, state and city leaders went on to say they will work together to support those who rely on programs like SNAP and WIC if necessary, but it all depends on how long the shutdown will last.
We have a little bit of a leeway with SNAP, but WIC is the most dire and the most critical right now.
LaMonica Jones oversees both Maryland and D.C. hunger solutions inside the Food Research and Action Center. Their work focuses on ending hunger statewide, but with the government shutdown in full swing, their biggest concern is for those who rely on both SNAP and WIC to feed their families.
If we get to November and we are still in a shutdown, or as we go throughout October, we're looking at a potential delay in terms of USDA being able to administer those benefits to state agencies.
Based on other government shutdowns, experts say the impacts will not be felt immediately. SNAP and WIC recipients will still receive their payments for the first month. However, Jones says if the shutdown goes beyond 3 to 4 weeks, states may have to come up with a contingency plan, or WIC and SNAP recipients could see delays.
There are several programs already in question in terms of whether or not they will continue to exist.
Tracy Bercolino is the president of the Community Action Council of Howard County. She says there's also a level of uncertainty for other local programs families rely on, like Head Start.
Things like that are really fundamental to support those that are the most vulnerable and in the most need.
According to the 2025 Maryland Hunger Profiles, the state has more than 149,000 SNAP participants and nearly 30,000 women, infant, and children participating in WIC. Local and state leaders say they're working on ways to mitigate any potential impacts.
We'll be monitoring that as well. If a long-term shutdown does occur, we will do everything that we can to maintain the services for our residents.
We are going to make sure we're doing everything in our power for as long as we can.
We don't want to cause any panic from anyone. WIC is not shutting down. It's not ending. Same thing for SNAP. Continue to operate until we have more clarity.
Leaders say there's no need to worry right now. You can still use your SNAP and WIC benefits because there's no immediate impacts of the shutdown to these programs right now. Officials say the most important thing is to stay up to date on all things government shutdown. For now, reporting on your corner, I'm Janae Reese for CBS News Baltimore.
Right. Dennis and Janae, thank you. And WJZ has put together a list of resources for federal workers and other people impacted by the government shutdown. You can find it on the homepage of our website. That's WJZ.com.